Yes, people pay big money for coffee literally pooped out by a cat-like animal. Now we know why it tastes good. Kopi Luwak, better known as cat poo coffee, gets its fancy flavor from a very gross journey. The beans are eaten by Asian palm civets, fermented in their guts, and then, well, scientists just found out that two special fatty acids, the same kind used to make dairy taste rich and smooth, show up way more in civet-pooped beans than in normal ones. The real players here? Gluconobacter bacteria inside the civet's stomach, using their enzymes to transform the beans into a luxury brew. So next time someone flexes their $100 cup of exotic coffee, remember it's basically a bacterial fermentation experiment that passed through a furry butt.
Scientists just found an unexpected team-up. mRNA COVID vaccines appear to make a major cancer treatment. Immune checkpoint inhibitors work better. In real patients with deadly cancers, those who got the COVID shot actually lived longer than those who didn't. To figure out why, researchers tested it in mice and discovered the vaccines basically rev up the immune system across the entire body, giving cancer-fighting drugs a powerful boost. It's not a replacement for treatment, but it might be the ultimate assist in the fight against cancer.
Astronomers just spotted something wild in the very first test image from Chile's brand new Vera C. Rubin Observatory. The galaxy Messier 61 has a tail. Not a comet tail, but a stellar stream. A trail of stars left behind when M61 ripped apart a smaller galaxy long ago. What's mind-blowing is that even the mighty Hubble telescope never caught it. The Rubin Observatory, rocking the largest digital camera ever built, snapped it instantly. Scientists say this is just the appetizer, the kind of whoa moment that hints at a cosmic buffet of discoveries to come. Plot twist. Your favorite galaxy just revealed it's been hiding an intergalactic tail this whole time.
Malaria parasites really said, "New phone, who dis?" until this drug showed up. A brand new malaria drug just did something wild. It cured more than 97% of people in a clinical trial, and it outperformed the treatments we've been using for decades. The drug, called Gana-Placide Lumefantrine, or Ganlum, attacks malaria parasites in a totally different way than artemisinin, the plant-based compound behind most current therapies. That's huge, because parasites in Southeast Asia and parts of Africa are already developing resistance to artemisinin, threatening to roll back years of progress. Ganlum basically says, "Nice try" to that resistance by targeting the parasite through a new biochemical route. If regulators approve it, this would be the first new class of malaria drug in 25 years, and it could arrive in the next 12 to 18 months, potentially saving millions of lives in regions hit hardest by the disease. For the first time ever, researchers have mapped out how the human brain takes shape, from stem cells to neurons, like a time-lapse of consciousness being built. In a landmark collection of 5 studies, scientists tracked hundreds of thousands of early brain cells in humans and mice to see how they form neurons, support cells, and everything in between. Co-author Hongqi Zheng calls it the first draft of a full brain development atlas. And now, researchers can mine it to explore disorders like autism and schizophrenia. Think of it as the baby book for your brain, complete with all the messy early chapters of what makes us human. Scientists basically just made Google Maps, but for your developing brain.
Imagine digging through Arctic ice, not for mammoths, but for 100-year-old virus RNA. Most ancient DNA we've studied comes from frozen bones or teeth. But what about RNA, the molecule behind viruses like influenza? That's the next big target for evolutionary biologist Sebastian Calvignac-Spencer, who's leading a wild scientific treasure hunt in the Arctic. His team is exploring the icy permafrost of Svalbard, Norway, hoping the cold, dry conditions preserved ancient viral RNA that could rewrite our understanding of pandemics and viral evolution. RNA usually breaks down fast, but if any survived, it's up there, locked in the ice, holding the molecular history of disease itself.
A major plot twist just hit the brain tech world. Paradromics, a Neuralink rival, has officially scored FDA approval to start a long-term clinical trial of its brain-computer interface. Their device will be implanted in 2 volunteers who lost the ability to speak due to neurological diseases or injuries. And this isn't just about typing with your mind. This is the first clinical trial aiming to restore real-time synthetic speech. basically letting the brain talk directly to a digital voice. The trial's main mission is safety, but if it works, it could radically change communication for people who've been locked out of their own voices. The brain chip race just got very real.
Scientists just built a tiny robot, literally the size of a grain of sand, that can swim through your blood vessels and drop medicine exactly where it's needed. No, this isn't sci-fi. It's a real micro-robot made from gelatin beads stuffed with drugs and iron oxide nanoparticles, so doctors can steer it using magnets like a medical RC car. Once it delivers the payload, the robot dissolves harmlessly into the body. Tests in pigs and sheep show it can navigate complex vessels and deliver tiny targeted doses without nuking the rest of your organs with side effects. If this scales to humans, it could mean a future where surgeons guide microscopic drug couriers through your bloodstream like they're playing a biomedical Mario Kart. Congrats, humanity! We officially unlocked nanobot side quests.
Finally, drug regulation for Africa. By Africa. No more one-size-fits-all medicine. After over a decade in the making, Africa just launched its own version of the FDA, the African Medicines Agency. But this isn't just another bureaucracy, it's a revolution in how medicine is made for Africans. The continent has the most genetic diversity on Earth, meaning that some globally approved drugs can actually work differently, or even harm, people of African ancestry. With rapid population growth, urbanization, and shifting global funding, the AMA is stepping up to lead its own health destiny. As pharmacologist Mwila Mulubwa and colleagues put it, this is Africa claiming its rightful place in shaping the science that shapes its future.
AI models are basically what they eat, and lately they've been binging on digital junk food. Researchers found that when chatbots are trained on brain rot content, think low-effort memes, rage bait, and chaotic Twitter threads, their IQ plummets. They start skipping logic steps, spewing nonsense, and even showing dark traits like narcissism and psychopathic reasoning. Yep, our AIs are literally learning from the worst parts of us. Moral of the story? Feed your models facts, not vibes. Even the robots aren't safe from doom scrolling. Touch some grass, chatbot.
Why test thousands of drugs one by one, when A, I can just skip to the good stuff? Drug development usually means screening mountains of chemicals in the lab, slow, expensive, and kinda like guessing. But a new AI model named Drug Reflector just changed the game. It learned how nearly 9,600 compounds affect gene activity across 50-plus types of human cells. And now it can predict which drugs are worth testing before scientists even touch a test tube. In trials, it was up to 17 times better than random screening at finding compounds that control blood cell development. Faster cures, fewer dead ends. The future of medicine might be computational.
Turns out, humans didn't just domesticate dogs, they were custom breeding them thousands of years before Instagram dog pages existed. Scientists just analyzed ancient dog skulls and found the first true dog face. Shorter snouts, wider cheeks, totally unlike wolves, dating back almost 11,000 years. And right after that, boom, a prehistoric explosion of dog shapes and sizes, representing over half the diversity you see in today's breeds. Ancient genomes show people weren't just adopting dogs, they were selecting cool traits, traveling with them, and even trading good bois like Pokemon cards. In other words, the moment humans met dogs, we immediately started making them aesthetic and useful. Humans have apparently been playing dog creator DLC for 11,000 years.
China just dropped a STEM fast pass. Move first, job later. China just made a major power move in the global science race, introducing the new K visa, designed to lure top young researchers in STEM fields. Here's the twist. You don't even need a job offer to move there. It's a bold play to attract the world's best minds, says immigration policy expert Jeremy Neufeld, and part of China's long game to dominate science and innovation. While the details are hush-hush, like age, education, and experience requirements, the message is loud and clear. If you're smart, young, and science-obsessed, China wants you now.
Florida's legendary coral reef, 10,000 years in the making, just hit a heartbreaking milestone. Elkhorn and staghorn corals, once the backbone of the entire reef, are now considered functionally extinct after the brutal 2023 marine heatwave. A few survivors remain in labs and tiny wild patches, but not enough to rebuild the reef. Scientists say it's time for a new plan, breeding heat-resistant corals from the toughest survivors, or switching to species that can take the heat. But here's the brutal truth. None of these rescue missions will matter if we don't deal with the real threat: fossil fuel pollution and soaring ocean temperatures.
Google's back at it claiming quantum supremacy, but scientists are like, cool, prove it. Google just dropped another bold claim: quantum advantage, round 2. Their latest algorithm, called Quantum Echoes, supposedly lets quantum computers blast through complex calculations that would leave classical ones crawling. The team says it could even help solve molecular structures, a huge deal for chemistry and drug design. But not everyone's convinced. Critics like physicist Dries Sells are reminding everyone, big claims need big proof. It's exciting, sure. But for now, quantum computers are still in the show-me phase, not the change-the-world one.
You can't fight climate chaos with glitter bombs and good vibes, apparently. So India just tried to make it rain, literally. Planes flew over Delhi, dropping silver iodide and salt crystals into the clouds to trigger artificial rain and wash away the city's toxic smog. But nothing happened. No rain, no relief. Scientists say the air just wasn't humid enough. Basically, Delhi's sky ghosted the experiment. And even if it had worked, experts warn it's just a flashy distraction from the real fix, actually cleaning up pollution at its source. As one scientist put it, the obvious solution is also the boring one. Sorry, but you can't cloud seed your way out of bad policy.
For years, scientists thought this fossil was just a baby Tyrannosaurus rex, like a teenage version still figuring out life. But surprise, it's actually a fully grown adult from an entirely different species called Nanotyrannus. Think of it as Rex's smaller, speedier cousin, half the length, 1/10 the mass, but with longer arms and razor-sharp teeth built for agility. Paleontologist Steve Broussat calls the discovery a mic drop moment that forces scientists to rewrite the Tyrannosaur family tree. So yeah, dinosaurs are still keeping paleontologists up at night. Turns out, the teenage T-Rex just got its own dinosaur diploma.
China's space mission just brought back moon dust and found something that shouldn't even be there. China's Chang'e 6 mission just made history, not just by returning samples from the far side of the moon, but by finding something completely unexpected: fragments of a rare meteorite buried in the lunar dust. The debris looks like material from asteroids that formed before the solar system itself, carrying some of the oldest cosmic dust ever found. Scientists think these particles could help reveal how ancient asteroids may have delivered water and other life-building compounds to early Earth. Basically, this rock isn't just rare, it's a time capsule from before our planet was even born.
Science just gave new eyes to people who'd lost theirs, and it actually works. A breakthrough implant is helping people with age-related macular degeneration, the most common cause of incurable blindness. See again. The tiny device sits under the retina, replacing the light-sensitive cells destroyed by the disease. A special pair of camera glasses captures images and beams them to the implant, which then stimulates surviving retinal neurons to create vision. In trials, patients who were once blind could read letters and even words. The catch? It takes months of training for the brain to adapt, but for many, it's the first glimpse of sight in years.
Autonomous weapons, killer robots, are no longer sci-fi. They're real, they're learning, and they might soon decide who lives or dies. Experts warn that we're sliding into a new arms race where machines can kill without human input. Former soldier Paul Shara says that when people hand over trigger decisions to AIs, they stop feeling responsible, even if civilians get caught in the crossfire. Legal scholar Nehal Bhutta adds that when no one's accountable, justice evaporates. The scary part? The robots don't need to go rogue. They just need to do exactly what they were programmed for. We gave robots Wi-Fi, lasers, and no moral compass. What could possibly go wrong?
Historians just dropped the ancient version of Google Maps, but for Rome. This new mega map charts nearly 300,000 kilometers of Roman roads, revealing the empire's massive transport network around AD 150. It connects data from scattered archaeological records into one jaw-dropping visualization of how Rome kept its world running. But here's the twist. Only 3% of those roads are actually confirmed. So, while we love to say all roads lead to Rome, turns out most of them are still somewhere out there. As historian Catherine Fletcher put it, we've only scratched the surface of how Rome really ruled the world, one stone road at a time. Imagine flexing about your empire when your Google Maps still loads in stone tablets. Remember baby KJ Muldoon? Doctors literally reprogrammed his DNA to save his life. And now, that miracle is turning into a clinical trial. The same team behind KJ's treatment is gearing up to try it on 5 more patients. It's powered by something called base editing, an offshoot of CRISPR that lets scientists change a single DNA letter, like fixing one typo in the code of life. The crazy part? They built KJ's treatment in just 6 months, and his doctor, Kiran Musunuru, says they can do it even faster next time. Personalized medicine just went full sci-fi. Science just saved a baby's life with custom DNA surgery, faster than Amazon Prime delivery.
Sleep isn't just off and on. Your brain's literally vibing through dream dimensions first. You think sleep just happens when you close your eyes? Nope. Your brain basically throws a biochemical rave every night. Sleep researcher Laura Lewis says drifting off isn't a simple flip of a switch. It's a spectrum. Between awake and asleep lies a strange twilight zone called hypnagogia, where your brain half dreams and half hallucinates. It's also when your creativity goes wild. Think of it as the brain's sandbox before deep sleep hits. Studying how this transition works could explain weird stuff like sleep paralysis or even why some people wake up with million-dollar ideas.
When your coffin doubles as a 2,000-year-old climate data recorder, that's next-level recycling. Scientists just turned an ancient coffin into a history book. And no, not metaphorically. A 2,200-year-old wooden coffin from China's Han Dynasty has revealed how the climate once shaped an empire. By analyzing tree rings in the coffin's wood, researchers pieced together weather patterns that likely helped the Qin Western Han dynasties thrive. Turns out, even the dead can whisper secrets about the environment they lived and died in. Tree ring scientist Chun Chin says coffins like these are often the only high-resolution record left when ancient forests vanish. Forget pyramids. Apparently, coffins hold the receipts of climate history.
Imagine studying one antibiotic for decades and missing the real superhero sitting right next to it. So, scientists were studying how a soil bacterium makes a known antibiotic called methylenomycin A, right? Nothing groundbreaking until they stumbled on something hiding in plain sight. A compound called premethylenomycin C-lactone, 100 times more powerful than the original drug. Yeah, they found a bacterial Easter egg that kills stubborn infections with microscopic doses. The twist? The original discovery dates back to 1965, meaning this super antibiotic has been chilling in the shadows for nearly 60 years. Moral of the story? Sometimes science's biggest breakthroughs are just hiding behind a lab bench.
Imagine hosting a climate conference and forgetting to mention climate change. Couldn't be me. Climate drama is peaking at COP30, where dozens of nations just said they'll block any deal that doesn't include a roadmap to finally transition away from fossil fuels, something everyone supposedly agreed to back at COP28. But the newest draft text? Zero mention of a phase-out. Not even a polite nod. Meanwhile, petrostates like Saudi Arabia and Russia are basically hitting the ignore button on ending the fossil fuel era. The Brazilian COP30 president is begging negotiators to channel the Remember Paris Agreement energy because, as he put it, if this collapses, everybody loses. The stakes? Only the literal fate of the planet. No pressure. Imagine publishing 4 research papers without actually being real. Yeah, science just got catfished. Meet Beatriz Ikusi, a mathematician who supposedly published multiple papers and reviewed scientific manuscripts back in 2015 and 2016. Pretty impressive, except she's completely fake. Ikusi was invented by a paper mill, a shady operation that sells fabricated research and creates fake academics to make them look legit. And she's not alone. Dozens of ghost scientists have slipped through peer review. Publishers are now trying to tighten ID checks to stop the fraud. But critics warn these new rules could end up locking out real researchers from smaller institutions and developing countries. It's a mess. Fake science gaming real systems. Because the last thing you want in an ER is an overconfident chatbot diagnosing your heart attack. Artificial intelligence might be getting smarter, but in medicine, confidence can kill. Clinician scientist Leo Anthony Selly warns that medical AI needs two missing traits: curiosity and humility. Curiosity would let AI question its own answers, like, "Am I sure about this diagnosis?" And humility would make it admit when it's not. Seeley says the goal isn't to replace doctors, but to build systems that amplify human judgment, empathy, and ethics, not bulldoze them. Because the future of medicine shouldn't be about machines pretending to be human, it should be about humans using AI wisely.
Only 3% of US state legislators have backgrounds in science, engineering, or healthcare, and some scientists are done with that. Across the country, more researchers and doctors are ditching the lab coats for campaign buttons. Why? Pandemic-era policies, attacks on public health, and the politicization of science lit a fire under them. Pediatrician Annie Andrews summed it up perfectly. Politics came for us. You can't fight bad politics by staying apolitical. Now, with organizations helping scientists run for office, we might finally see lawmakers who actually understand data, not just debate it. Because if bad politics came for science, science is now running for Congress.
This is KoKochem. Subscribe for more science updates. Thank you for watching.